It begins. Welcome to your home for all eternity.
Dipper, what do we do? Quick, in there!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Pining for the Falls, the podcast where everyone is technically a teen. I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend, Dr. Sea Monster.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today?
Hey, Doc, what's up?
Not much. Not lots happened since the last time we recorded. I did eat a pizza though.
Oh, nice. Pizza. Anything happened since the last time we recorded this podcast?
Nothing too dramatic, really. Had a pretty slow week.
I just woke up, but my week was full of stuff, like, other than work. I have been catching up on, I've been watching The Dinosaurs. You know, that old classic ABC sitcom about dinosaurs. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, I remember. I have fond memories of it. My father hated it, but I remember liking it.
Maybe because I don't know anything about your father, but as an adult, I am recognizing all the jokes that flew over my head as a kid. Like, that thing is lined with, social commentary, like, to the gills. So maybe your dad just didn't much care for what it was saying.
Entirely possible.
Let's see. I think the last episode I watched the last episode I watched that had like a message was called Endangered Species. So you kind of already know what it's about. But apparently there's an animal called I don't care anymore. No, I do care, but there's this animal that's like super tasty, super delicious, and it's now hard to find. Which, you know, they're overeating this particular creature. You know, that's the whole thing. Earl, the father of the family, gets the last two of these creatures. He doesn't know they're the very last two. But because his anniversary is coming up, and it's the particular anniversary where you get a couple of these to share to eat, because they're just that tasty. It turns out these creatures are super duper intelligent. They're given to Robbie, the son, to look over to hide from the mother while before their anniversary comes up, and they're trying to teach Robbie about what happens when there isn't more, when more doesn't exist, because they're trying to teach the lesson that they're the very last two of their species. After they're eaten, that's it. No more of us. They hold up like a bunch of grapes. Like, imagine that these are all the grapes on the planet Earth. Just imagine that. And I was like, okay. He's like, they're like, go ahead, eat them. And he eats them. He's like, all right. And that was fine. And they're like, okay, but now what if you want more grapes? He's like, I could just go get more grapes. They're like, but those were the last grapes on Earth. There are no more grapes. Because he's trying to write a paper about why are the dinosaurs, the most dominant species on the planet. And they're trying to teach them that while the dinosaurs are the most dominant species on the planet, they might be not doing necessarily things the right way. They're over-consuming. There might not be more food left. Which is an important message for human beings to learn that we haven't learned ever. So, it was very poignant. They got away with murder on that show, basically.
Yeah.
I believe the directions were just show the baby hitting the dad with the pot or whatever, and we'll leave you alone. I think that was like their message from the executive.
Dinosaurs is technically a Disney show.
It is.
I don't
It's not.
Is it? Is it up on Disney Plus?
It is not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was it was like produced by Disney and
Oh, it's
Jim Henson.
It was
And
produced by
Jim.
ABC, who wasn't owned by Disney at the time. They are now, and Jim Henson is now owned by Disney. So I mean, it is technically.
Yes, Jim Henson, friend of the show. But not by not by Disney proper, but by one of their subsidiaries that for developing television, Buena Vista International. And Buena Vista International has developed, while technically part of Disney, developed a lot of TV shows, cartoons, and sitcoms and stuff.
Yeah,
especially during like the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I do have some fond memories of that show, but I do also remember, yeah, it definitely got away with murder.
it definitely did. I think in like the opening episode, Earl's talking to his boss, and his boss is like, "I can say whatever I want to you. I can insult you in any manner, and you just gotta stand there and smile and take it." And he's like, "Oh, that's a real good point, sir. Like, you are correct." Like, it's like, oh my gosh. Also, the head writer, like the main producer of that show, was the guy who also produced and wrote Boy Meets World. So he is like, he loves a good special episode, you know. If like Boy Meets World is a good show, I really have good memories of it. I do not know if it will still.
I recall Boy Meets World being pretty good too. I don't as far as holds up. That's kind of as far as whether it like holds up exactly, probably not that well. But like a lot of the intention is probably still solid.
Probably. I do remember that they would just forget about characters. Like the daughter, one episode she was there, and then she didn't reappear for like a few years. They actually made a joke about it.
That is the way that sitcoms used to be written. You know, they were written just kind of on the fly, without much continuity. Characters would get written in and written out of the show at random.
Yeah, I mean, it just like it felt like they just like totally forgot about the daughter, that the daughter existed, and just focused on Corey and Eric for like the majority of it, and the daughter would like appear sort of randomly. She's a core member of the family. She's just not there.
Yeah, it's a little random.
I believe the episode where she reappears, she says a bad word or something close to a bad word, and like, oh, "You're grounded." She's like, "Oh, the last time I was grounded, it lasted 11 years." It was like, or something like that. It was that joke is very close to that. So I've been doing that. I've also been catching up on Dark Side of the Ring, which this isn't a wrestling podcast, so we're not going to get into it too much. The last one I watched, because they had like a whole season before I started, was the last of the Von Erichs, which is like a big wrestling family in like the 70s and 80s, and only one of them is still alive. The father wrestled, his 5 sons wrestled, and only one of the sons is alive. One of the middle brothers died of like a stomach virus, like it exploded his intestines and he filled up with blood and died in Japan. And then 3 of the other brothers all committed suicide. Just like one right after the other. Very tragic.
It's terrible.
So, and what's crazy, like I said, we're not going to talk about it very much. We're going to move on here pretty quick. What's crazy is the last surviving Von Erich has sons, right? And his sons want to wrestle and are wrestling. And he approves, which is crazy to me, because like he has a line in the episode where he says, you know, "I used to be the oldest brother of 5, and now I'm not even a brother anymore." Like, that's crushing. And what took his family away was basically, I mean, his father died of like brain cancer, so, you know, and his middle brother died of a stomach virus. But the other 3, they died of the pressures of the spotlight of trying to replace the brother who died. Like, I'd be so against like my family being a part of wrestling if that is what had happened to my family. Like,
Yeah, that's understandable.
oof. Yeah, but the Von Erichs were apparently bigger than the Cowboys back in the 80s. So that like tells you like how like how like major they were as a wrestling family in Texas to be bigger than the Dallas Cowboys. For those of you who don't know, Texans are yellow. They're yellow dog Cowboys fans. It doesn't matter if that team is full of golden retrievers. They're gonna support the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what I mean by bigger than the Cowboys.
For a long time, the Cowboys were the only football team in Texas
Yeah,
because
I mean, you have the Texans, and they came about in like what 2000, 2002 ish, kind of, sort of. Like they were the Titans first, then the Titans got sold to Tennessee, and then the Texans were.
So it was so besides the Cowboys, there was the Houston team, the Oilers.
Oh right, the Oilers.
The Oilers were there for about 20 years, but in the 90s they got sold off to Tennessee.
That's right.
And they changed to the Titans.
They changed the Titans.
But
that's right. Houston Oilers. Oof.
50, but for like a good 10 years, the only football in Texas besides like college ball was the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were already the most prominent of the like the Texas teams.
Oh, and
so
in the 90s, man, the Cowboys ruled. Like, I'm not big into sports, right? At least not anymore. But when I was a kid, the Cowboys were like in the Super Bowl. Like it felt like every year they won like 5 almost in a row in the 90s. And so sorry.
And this did pop up in culture too. Like if you watched, we talked about King of the Hill last week, and if you watched King of the Hill, especially during the 90s, they talked about the Cowboys a lot.
They did. Oh hey, speaking of things we didn't talk about last week, did you catch up on Steven Universe Future?
Oh, I meant to, and then I didn't.
Okay, then we're still not going to talk about it. Poor Steven.
Okay. That's about. Let's see. That's about all I've done, really.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I got a new mouse, which is not news. That is not news.
What kind of mouse?
Just the company is called Azor, and it's a rechargeable wireless mouse. So we'll see how that goes.
See, I stopped using wireless mice. Is it mouses or mice when we're talking about the computer part?
It's still mice.
Okay. I stopped using computer mice or wireless mice because they eat batteries so bad.
This is a rechargeable mouse.
Nice.
So no batteries.
Yes. Let's see. Do you want to talk about Gravity Falls?
Yeah, we can talk about Gravity Falls. So today we watched, or at least we watched before we started recording, episode 5 of Gravity Falls, the Inconveniencing, which is probably, it has some of my most favorite Grunkle stand moments, to be honest. He's really good. Let's see.
He's got a great little B plot.
He does. So we open up on the Mystery Shack, like in the afternoon. The goat is crowing, which is great. And it's just Dipper, Mabel, and Wendy hanging out at the store, being dorks. Mabel is writing a world globe, and Dipper stops it, causing her to fall off. Grunkle Stan says, he calls them all to attention. He calls Zeus and Wendy to attention. He tells them he's going out and that they are to clean the bathrooms. Zeus says, "Oh yeah, I got it," and Wendy's like, "Not doing that." After Stan leaves, Wendy leads. She's like, "Hey, who wants to go have a roof party?" And the twins are like about it. They're like, a roof party? That sounds, that sounds cool. Like, really? That's enough. Anyway. The twins think that sounds like a great idea. Zeus doesn't know that they should actually be up there. But Wendy's like, come on. Yeah? He's like, oh, you're freaking me out. And so Wendy and the twins go up onto the roof. Like, they, climb out, this ladder that Wendy's prepared. And and they, scurry all the way over the roof to, this weird awning. I don't know if that's just, a part of the shack itself or it's something that, Wendy set up. I think it's just a part of the shack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It overlooks a window. The twins are super impressed by Wendy's hangout spot. She's like, I'm not up here every day, all the time. But she clearly is. They start throwing pine cones at a totem pole. To which Dipper hits a car and sets off the alarm, which Wendy's like, hey, that's, awesome. Double points or whatever. And she high-fives Dipper just as her friends pull up. They're, rowdy teens, and they're honking the horn. Wendy's like, I'm cutting out of here. You guys are going to tell Stan about it. And Dipper does this, he's zipping his lips and throwing away the key hand motion, which is real dorky. Super dorky. I actually kind of hate it. But Wendy repeats it back at him. I still hate it. And then she leaves. This is where Mabel's like, what's going on there? And Dipper's like, what do you mean, what's going on there? Oh, also, Wendy exits really cool. She, rides 2 trees down to, the ground. It's pretty dope. But yeah, Mabel's like, what's going on here? And Dipper's like, nothing. She's like, somebody's in love. He's like, I am not in love. It's not like I lay around at nights, thinking about her. I just think she's cool. But then we cut to a scene of Dipper laying awake at night. And what is he thinking about? Wendy.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no. That's really good. So this episode starts Dipper kind of this starts the Dipper pines for Wendy thing that stretches out throughout the show. The whole show, honestly.
It kind of slows down in the second season.
Well, yeah, after the whole alien thing, yeah.
So it's definitely, but it does crop up a lot in the first season.
It is prominent.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 episodes that kind of hinge on it.
Yeah. We cut back to the Mystery Shack during the next day, and Mabel is called on a dance party for no reason. She literally says that. She's like, let's put on a dance party for no reason. And her and Wendy just start, dancing. And Dipper is watching. And it's a really good gag of him, working on a clipboard. But we cut to the clipboard and it says, I am pretending to write something down. And then he looks at it pensively yes, very good. But he's super nervous around Wendy now that he's realized that he's got, a big old crush on her. It's interesting. And he cannot just act normal around her. It's a crush. It's possibly his first crush ever. So I'm not trying to be too hard on him. We've all been there. I have been there lots of times where I just am a total mess around somebody that I'm really into. So I get it. I'm not, if I sound like I'm being hard on Dipper, it's not intentional. We've all been there. Been there a lot. Anyway, Wendy's like, come on, dance. And Dipper's like, I don't really dance. And Mabel's like, yeah, you do. When we were little, Mom used to dress him up in a lamb costume and make him do the lammy dance, which is super embarrassing for Dipper, of course. He's like, hey, we do not need to talk about the Lammy dance. Let's cut that out. It's really good. Mabel has, I believe, she like pulls out a picture to show. It's really good. It's really bad. It's hilarious, honestly. Yeah. Dipper actually does like look like a little cute kid in the picture. Like it's silly and totally embarrassing. Dipper is trying really hard to get Mabel to shut up about the Lammy dance when the clock chimes, signaling that's the end of the workday, and Wendy's like, I'm out of here. My friends are waiting for me. And Dipper's like, hey, we could, me and Mabel, we could go with you. We could hang out. I mean, we're end of the day. And Wendy's like, I don't know. My friends are pretty intense. How old did you say you guys were? And Dipper's like, we are 13, so, technically a teen. Wendy's like, oh, all right, that sounds cool. I'm just going to get my stuff and you guys can come with me. That's fine, And she exits the scene, to which Mabel's like, is it like a leap year or something? Since when are we 13? And Dipper's like, hey, look, I lied, obviously, but, I just want to hang out with Wendy, and the cool kids or whatever. To which Mabel's like, aha, I was right. You do love her. And Dipper's like, no. But Mabel is like dancing around Dipper, like, going, haha, love, 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 love. And Dipper catches her attention, turns her around, and flips her hair right over her head because she's got so much of it. It's a pretty good gag.
It really is.
Because she's... Anyway, we cut outside, and we're going to meet the gang of Wendy's friends. They have one of these friends, who we will learn is Thompson, upside down on his hands, and they're throwing what appears to be jelly beans, or some kind of candy, trying to make it into his belly button, which... Honestly, Thompson is an okay guy. He's an okay dude. He is obviously the butt of a lot of their jokes because he's like the fat kid.
Yeah.
And he'll just go along with whatever they say because they're the cool kids. So he's definitely their patsy. And I feel bad for Thompson, honestly.
Yeah, you kind of do.
We meet the whole gang. We meet Dipper's antagonist, more or less. Like, a lot of the episodes hinge on Robbie and Dipper being at odds. Well, a lot might be strong. But Dipper definitely sees Robbie as, like, his rival for Wendy's affections. Which...
And, like, Robbie doesn't try to downplay that. Like, he definitely gets really jealous and engaged with Dipper on that level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Robbie sucks.
He is a huge jerk.
He's a huge
his voice actor's kind of a jerk, but we'll come back to that.
All right, then. Did not know that. We meet the whole gang. Just as Robbie is about to try to, like, throw another jelly bean or whatever into Thompson's belly button, Wendy hits it dead on because Wendy is the coolest. If you didn't know, and I don't think you do by this point, like, the show doesn't indicate it, but she is the daughter of Manly Dan.
That's the only
daughter. So, and Manly Dan's super cool, so of course Wendy's cool. But everybody is super excited to see Wendy because obviously she is the coolest girl in this whole group. Like, she's the alpha. Probably because she's raised by a Manly Dan. One of these teenagers has tattoos that I'm just now noticing for the first time, even though I've seen this episode like multiple times. Like, and I know that Wendy's still in high school because there's like an episode kind of about it. So, do you think those are temporary tattoos that he applies every day, or did he go to a really shady tattoo shop?
Probably went to a really shady tattoo shop.
Okay. Or Third option, he's graduated high school, is in his 20s, and is hanging out with teenagers.
Possible.
There's a lot of dirtbags in the world, folks. But Mabel introduces herself as, like, she introduces herself by saying, I've chewed up this gum to look like a brain, and she sticks it out. Blah. Dipper tries very hard to impress these teenagers by saying, she's not much for first impressions, but I am. This guy's cool. And he does like the double thumbs, and they're just looking at him like, okay. Robbie makes a comment like, what is this? Are you like babysitting or something to Wendy? And Wendy's like, fuck you. These are my friends. And then she also introduces the group to the twins. We find out that the tattoo guy, his name is Lee. There's Nate, who his only trait is he basically is excited all the time and wears a thumbs up shirt. That's his whole thing. Tambry is the only other girl in the group, and her hair is dyed, and she be texting all the time. Actually, this is a good question. Do you know when this show is supposed to take place?
So the show plays really fast and loose with anachronisms, especially like technology and stuff. But it's meant to be vaguely concurrent with when it came out. So it's supposed to be set in the
early 2010s,
mid to late 2000s, early 2010s, somewhere in that area. Because it's never not shown. It's never specifically shown to be set in the 90s.
Well, because Tambry has a flip phone.
But
and we actually do get a date when they go to because in this episode, folks, they're going to an abandoned convenience store, and the last newspaper on the rack is from 1995. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just don't know exactly when, because cell phones, even flip phones, weren't very popularized until the early 2000s. That's when flip phones first started appearing.
I don't recall if they say how long it's been since the store shut down.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the food they attempt to eat and
yeah, they go into the abandoned convenience store that's been closed for a decade or longer, and they're eating all kinds of shit in the store that has been shut down for that long. It is repulsive.
It is repulsive. Anyway, we are introduced then to Thompson, who once ate a waffle for 50 cents. Thompson is super embarrassed by that. Which
waffle that had been run over.
It had been, yeah, that's what I said. A waffle that had been run over for 50 cents. It's okay. I could have cut out. Anyway, Thompson's super embarrassed by this, which I think lends to the credence that Thompson doesn't necessarily like any of the things that they make him do. He's just doing it to hang out with them. I just feel bad for Thompson. And then we are introduced to Robbie, and he's only introduced as, you could probably just figure him out, because Robbie is pretty one-dimensional.
Yes, he is. Very much. He is a jerk, and that's it. That is the extent of his characterization.
Yep. Robbie says, I'm the guy who spray painted the water tower, to which Dipper says, oh, the big muffin? And thinking, he's trying to be nice, honestly. And Robbie's like, no, that's an explosion. But they look at the water tower, and the group of teens agree that it does look like a muffin. And it does look like a muffin. It's not like it's not like an ill comparison. But go on.
I mean, it's supposed to be a mushroom cloud, but it definitely, in universe, is made to look like a muffin.
Absolutely. But the group laughs at Robbie, which kind of sets this whole sort of rivalry off, because now Robbie has been made to feel embarrassed in front of his friends. But Wendy's like, okay, this is cool and all, but we got big plans tonight, so let's all move. Let's all hurry along. Let's go. Everybody in the car. And they get in the car. Dipper tries to get shotgun, but Robbie's already there. He's like, little kids go in the back. And so Dipper goes in the back with his sister. We get a really good scene of Thompson being like, okay, guys, before we go, my mom has asked, can you please stop punching the roof? To which they respond with immediately punching the roof. Poor Thompson.
Yes.
And I think they really only let him hang out with them because he's the one with a license and a car.
Entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. The interior of this car is ruined by, hauling around teenagers. We also get another shot of a muffin explosion. It, still looks like a muffin. There's like some of these carve outs are a little interesting. There's one that says "die laughing," and you can't see it because it's blocked out by what's that guy's name? The guy with
heads.
Huh?
One of their heads.
It's blocked out by the guy with the thumbs up shirt. But you can almost see where it says "kill me." There's definitely 2 L's and an I, but it is mostly blocked out. It's like LL me, which can pretty much only be kill me.
It's actually frill me.
Oh, maybe.
As it's expressing affection for frilled lizards. The person who did the backgrounds on this episode was actually a scaly. If that is true.
Thompson looks super annoyed as they start punching the roof, but he drives off anyway. He's just like, fine. We cut to the twins in the back. Dipper is chewing on a pin nervously. Mabel takes that pin because she crosses out a carving that says, "You stink," and she writes, "You look nice today." And she's like, haha, this is going to blow someone's mind. It's really good to mention that because we're going to come back to it. Like, we're going to come back to it in a great way. Dipper's like, hey, could you, chill out? And Mabel's like, oh, am I embarrassing you in front of your new... And she tries to shout girlfriend. And she gets most of the word out, but Dipper immediately covers her mouth. Like, hey, no. Oh, hey, in this scene, we actually do get to see what it says. It says call me, not kill me. But, oof, I think that got changed, honestly.
Probably. Because, you can't get a lot past the censors. On the door where it says "you stink," it was actually supposed to be "you suck," but even that was too much for the censors.
Yeah. Dipper has covered Mabel's mouth. Mabel responds by licking his hand, which is a total sibling move. We cut back to the Mystery Shack. And Stan is watching TV, and for some reason he has it on the black and white period piece old lady boring movie channel. He looks like he's been sitting here for a while, but once they mention the name of the channel, he's like, I don't want to be watching this. And he looks for the remote. He can't find it. And he's like, kids, I can't find the remote. And I refuse to stand up. But of course the twins are gone. And nobody can bring the remote. He's watching the Friday night movie, The Duchess Approves. And this is where we get some of Stan's best character work, honestly. I really love these. I really love this episode for these scenes.
We get there's 2 or 3 scenes related to this, and they're all great.
They're all great. We get and the Duchess Approve is starred by, these names are too great to pass up, starring Sturley Stimbleburgess as the Duchess, and and Grampton St. Rumperfruffle is played by Stoutenbargle Hamper Fluffinshire. It's just ridiculous. Stan is like screaming now. He's like, kids! Because he does not want to watch this movie. I really like it. We cut to the back to the kids and the teens, and they're standing outside of the Dusk Till Dawn. Dusk to Dawn, which is, I mean, that has to be a reference to From Dusk Till Dawn, right?
It's a reference to the Robert Rodriguez movie From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who was in a Robert Rodriguez movie. We can get back to that later.
Okay. So, they're looking at this, and the neon sign is still on. Like, so power is still going to this store, despite how long it's been closed, which is just crazy to me. But Wendy's like, here it is. The abandoned convenience store. It's condemned. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's super impressed. Dipper is like, why did they shut it down? Because he's nervous. It was like a health code violation or something. And the teen's like, somebody fucking died in there. And people say, it's haunted. To which Mabel's like, oh wow, this town has such a colorful history. Like, I really like Mabel. She's like my third favorite character.
Mabel's great.
They were like, you guys can't be serious. And Wendy's like, oh yeah, we're all gonna die. Chill out, it's not as bad as it looks. Of course, we do cut to a sign that says no trespassers. Violators will be dead. It's really good. Which freaks out Dipper even more. But they jump the fence, which Dipper takes forever to get over because he's just, he's nervous. Robbie's like, come on, your sister did it. We cut to Mabel just running circles on the ground. It's really good. Because Mabel doesn't care. Mabel doesn't give a shit. Dipper is then thrown off the top of the fence by one of the teenagers. He just lands right on his back. It's pretty good. Like, oh, sorry, dude. Robbie's like, haha, you threw a kid off a fence.
Robbie's kind of a shitty person.
Robbie is a shitty person. Robbie tries to open the door, and he visibly struggles, while everybody's kind of looking in the windows like, wow, this place looks really cool. I wish we could get in. Robbie's like, well, we can't. It's stuck. It's locked. And Dipper's like, hey, I mean, maybe I could, take a crack at it. And Robbie's like, oh yeah, sure. The little kid is going to rip these doors off like Hercules or whatever. Pfft, and like laughs at him. To which Dipper, like, decides he is just going to buck up. And he climbs. He like parkours, kind of. Like very slowly up this building. Like, up a sign, up a dumpster, onto like the gutters, up the roof, and he rips off a vent covering, and he climbs through the vents to get inside the store. Robbie says, what do you want to bet he died? But just as he says that, Dipper opens the door. Mabel cheers him on through the entire thing, while everybody kind of looks on like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, Dipper lets him in, and they call him Dr. Fun Times, which he is like super stoked about, of course. And he also gets a compliment from Wendy, which he is just like, oh, this is great. I've made the right choice by coming. They stand inside a very dark store, and they're like, you think it's really haunted? And they're like, no, it's not haunted. That's dumb. But we watch as the sign flips from yes, we're open to scram or get lost, we're closed. All by itself. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. It's good times. So we cut to the inside of the store. It's like dusty and dark. Nobody's been in here forever. There are cobwebs and spiders. Mabel actually does one of the finger tests on the take a penny, leave a penny thing. Picks up a whole line of dust and licks it. She's like, that's dust. Like, what? Mabel, what else could it have been?
Yeah.
This is where I'm talking about, Dipper picks up a newspaper and it's dated May 2nd, 1999. And it's like, cheese crust pizza declared delicious by USA News, spelled with a Z. And under that, there's another article that says war or something.
Sounds like the 90s. That does sound like the 90s.
That sounds like the 90s. It sounds like just all of American history. Honestly.
Or something pretty common for Americans.
Yeah. And one of the teens is like, hey, where do you think they keep the dead bodies? And they're like, shut up. Wendy is like, hey, do you think the lights or anything still works? Which I think the glowing neon sign is a good indicator that this place is still getting power, despite being abandoned for 10 or more years. Which, like I said, is just crazy to me. Because I remember working for a convenience store, and if the property didn't pay the power bill for whatever reason, maybe wires got crossed or whatever, that power would go out immediately. So it's crazy to me that this place still has running power after being abandoned.
Well, there's some weird things in the episode, like the ice cream and the ice in the coolers is still cold.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
I think it might be the ghosts are keeping the place in stasis.
That could be it. That could absolutely be it. But Wendy flips up the lights and everything comes on. Did you say, hold on a second? Pause. So Wendy has turned on the entire store. Everybody's super impressed. There's still donuts here, and they're not covered in mold or whatever. There's bread. This should be green. This is weird to me.
Yeah.
Just as somebody who knows foods. But they have a food fight. They hit each other with cat litter. They're just having a grand old time. They also put Mentos in a diet pit to make, it explode, which, I'm sorry, a 10-year-old soda cannot have any more fizz in it. That's just impossible. Ghosts be damned.
Especially not a diet soda.
No, there's no way. But
Diet soda goes flat faster than sugar soda.
we get to the C plot of this episode, which is a Mabel plot. Mabel has run into Smile Dip, which is like, whoa, I thought this stuff was illegal to sell in America. So we're gonna find out why. So Mabel automatically is ready to open this, but Dipper's like, maybe they had a good reason to make it illegal, and Mabel's like, whatever, and she just she rips it open, sticks in the little candy stick that you're supposed to use to get the sugar to cover it, and instead she just dumps the sugar right into her mouth.
She goes ham on the Smile Dip.
She does go very ham on the Smile Dip. We cut to Dipper and Wendy eating popsicles that should be melted. Should be melted. It's been 10 plus years. Unless the freezers and the coolers and stuff were also getting that same power that the sign was getting, which is possible. When you turn off all the lights and stuff, the coolers don't, shut off. So maybe we're being too hard about the ice and the popsicles.
Gravity Falls is also just kind of a weird place.
Yeah. But
Legality, the laws don't seem too logical sometimes.
yeah. Wendy's like, Dipper, man, this is like the coolest fucking night. Like, you know, we were just like gonna come here and like look at this place, and now we're actually inside. This is legendary. And she's like, and Dipper's like, really? She's like, yeah, just look around. The guys are bonding. But we cut to Robbie dumping a big old sack of ice down Thompson's shorts, which once again, like, Thompson looks fine in this case. I guess he's having a good time, but poor Thompson.
The thing about being that person in a group is that, like, you kind of have to act like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
So they don't think you're like a buzzkill.
Absolutely.
But like a lot of people get the idea that people like that are just, oh, we're just into it and we're having fun and we'll do whatever for whatever reason. But not always the case.
Not always the case. No.
I recall eating a can of cat food at a convention panel.
Woof. I'm sorry.
A small can. Like a little fancy feast.
Right. Wendy also notes that Tambry has never looked up from her phone this long because, you know, she always be texting.
Yeah.
And we just
all girls know anymore is the text, eat hot chip and lie.
And she notes that Mabel is going crazy for that smile dip, which Mabel has eaten. She's like, oh man, maybe I've eaten too much. She's like, got a stomach pooch. There's a whole box that is just of smile dip that is empty. But she says, what do you think? And she looks up, and we cut to what Mabel is seeing, which is just a Lisa Frank Technicolor world. There's a giant dog just making like rough bark noises.
The dog is actually talking backwards.
Is he talking backwards? Oh.
I can bring up what he says in.
What does he say?
Don't know. I will bring it up, but we'll get back to it.
Yep. Even the wiki doesn't know. All right. Whatever. Yeah. So another dog pops up. It's like, hey, would you like to eat my candy paws? And Mabel's like, yeah, I would. I really would like that. And we cut to Mabel just holding her hands up, making the gnawing motion, but she's not chewing on anything. Mabel is like she's in smile dip land.
My favorite part to this episode is, of course, Mabel stripping balls.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And Wendy admits that she didn't know that Dipper was going to actually be able to hang with her crew. Like, she was worried about it. But now she sees that she didn't have any real reason to worry. Dipper can hold his own and is actually pretty cool. And Dipper's like, yes, I am, as he shoves ice cream into his face, trying to eat it. Robbie, or somebody, calls out for more ice, and Dipper goes to grab more ice for them because he's Dr. Fun Times now. But as he goes to get more ice, he spots a human brain and a nervous system attached to like nothing. It's just floating there with eyeballs and a mouth, which freaks him out. Like, of course it does. And he screams, he drops the ice, and he slams the door shut.
I don't know if that part specifically is ever explained, but I think it's a reference to Watchmen.
I think it's a reference to Watchmen. It could be a reference to another horror movie. But it's definitely a reference to something.
Yeah.
Dipper slams the door shut. He's breathing hard. He then slowly opens the door to reveal no monster. But the teens come up. They're like, whoa, what's going on? We thought we heard like a little girl scream. They're like, nope, nothing's going on. Everything's fine. Like, are you getting freaked out, man? They're like, no, I'm not getting freaked out. Of course I'm not. And Robbie's like, oh yeah, then what's with this broken bag of ice here? To which Dipper's like, oh hey, look, fancy, what is it called? It's called Fancy Pants Revolution, which is of course a reference to Dance Dance Revolution. He's like the game that tricks people into exercising, which is true. I used to love Dance Dance Revolution.
I played DDR once. It was exhausting.
Well, yeah, you gotta work up to it. It's cardio. Anyway, this distracts everybody. They're like, oh yeah, let's go play Fancy Pants Revolution. Totally forgetting that Dipper might be freaking out. Dipper's not so sure this place is safe anymore, but we cut to Thompson doing his fancy pants dance, and everyone's like, oh man, you're so bad at this. And he's not great, honestly, but you never are when you start DDR. So if you're out there, you see a DDR machine, you want to try it out, do so, but know that you're not going to be good at it at first. It's okay. Just keep at it. Dipper's like, yeah, this is great. Hey, what if this place is haunted? Because he looks into the glass door, and the reflection is just all of them as skeletons. Like, it's full on a horror movie, which it's really great because we get a small cut of Thompson as a skeleton, and his skeleton is sweating, which is I really like. So Dipper's like, I'm going to be right back. And he goes and he tries to call Grunkle Stan. He's like, come on, pick up. Where are you? What could you even be doing right now? And we cut to Stan, who has gotten up to get ice cream. He wouldn't get up to get the remote, but he's got ice cream. And he is still watching The Duchess Approves.
He's like into it now.
He is super into it. And, the Duchess is like, I'm not afraid anymore, Mother. I may be a Duchess, but I'm also a woman. She pulls off her hat, her hair's flowing in the wind. And it's like, yes, this is just like my life, in a way. He's really into this. It's really good.
And to be honest, that's not inaccurate.
I mean... yeah, we'll get to it. It's not totally inaccurate. Dipper is like, Mabel, I need your advice. We're hanging out in a haunted convenience store. I can't get a hold of Grunkle Stan. If I say anything to these guys, they're just gonna think I'm a scared little kid, and I'll no longer be Dr. Funtimes. He's really worried about his image, but he also doesn't want them to get murdered by ghosts. Mabel cannot answer him. She is groaning. Her eyes are dilated all the way. And she's just got Fun Dip all over her and coming out of her mouth because she is just on a tear.
We get back to her perspective, and she is even fucking higher.
She is way higher. She's riding a four-headed flying dolphin with a dolphin with beefy arms. He gets 4 heads. 4 beefy arms, which
and screams rainbows.
And screams rainbows. She's like, the future is in the past.
Onward, Tsuyoshima!
Onward, Tsuyoshima! And Dipper's like, Mabel, how many of these did you eat? She's shaking her. She's like, 11 bleak or something, kind of close to that. 11 or something like that. It's really good. And Dipper's like, oh, this is bad. This is terrible. What do we do? Robbie is scratching off old scratch-offs. He drops his quarter, and we find chalk lines of dead people. Not actual dead people, just the chalk outlines. And Robbie's like, come on, guys, you gotta see this. And they're like, whoa. The rumors were true. 2 people died in here. Oh, my God. Dogs. Robbie's like, hey, I dare one of you guys to lie down in it. And they're like, yeah, I'll fucking do it. I'm not fucking afraid. And Dipper's like, hey, wait, maybe we don't do this? And they're like, what? And like, well, maybe this place is haunted. Like, you know, he doesn't really want to say it, but he feels like he has to. The teens are like, boo, you suck. You're being like Mr. Buzzkill or Dr. Buzzkill or whatever. Or Captain Buzzkill. And he's like, but I thought I was Dr. Funtimes. They're like, well, you're acting like Captain Buzzkill. This leads Dipper to jump into the chalk outline as Wendy agrees with the rest of them that he's kind of being a buzzkill. Like, you know, Dipper, we've been there. We've all been there. But he jumps down into it to prove that he is technically a teen and not scared. And the chalk line starts to glow a ghostly green. And then the store goes nuts. Tambry is the first to disappear. They pick up her phone. She's like, status update. He just screams with a bunch of emojis. And she's locked in the CT monitor for the security cameras, which freaks everybody out. And Robbie's like, hey, you know what? Let's get the fuck out of here. Because this is ridiculous. Like, come on, Thompson, let's go. And he's like, wait, I've almost got the high score. And then he disappears. And he's now trapped inside Fancy Pants Revolution. Trying to dodge the arrows, which he doesn't quite do. He's being stabbed by digital arrows now. And Robbie's like, you know what? Fuck him too. Let's go. The doors slam shut and lock. So now they're trapped inside. Robbie attempts to break the glass doors with the register, but it gets absorbed. Dipper's like, hey, you know what? Maybe these ghosts have reason for why they're haunting this place. Let's just try to talk them out. And Robbie's like, oh yeah, sure, we can just talk to him. And Wendy's like, come on, maybe he's got a point. And one of the teens like, yeah, sure, the ghosts just want to talk about their feelings or whatever. And he disappears next and is on a box of cereal called Lee's. And it's got like a version of Toucan Sam. And he's like, I'm bonkers for eating you alive. Which is really good. And the camera cuts away, but you get a noise, a squelching noise, and everybody winces. So Lee, the teenager who is absorbed into the box, he's been stabbed by this bird. Presumably.
There is a stabbing noise.
Yeah. So this teenager, he's dead. Like, they just watch him be killed by a bird. So
Fun fact, being killed by a bird is called being birdered.
It's called being birdered. The teen with all the tattoos is like, okay, I'm with you 100%, kid. You know, let's try to talk to these ghosts. To which now Mabel has been possessed. And an evil masculine voice is like, welcome! You know? Like, oh no, they got Mabel! It's like, welcome to your graves! Ha 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 ha!
Yes.
And Wendy's like, you know, we're super sorry, can we just go? We're just gonna leave forever. And the ghost is like, alright, yeah, you're free to go. They're like, they open the doors. They're like, but before you go, you know, hot dogs are now half off, which is crazy, I know, but you gotta try these dogs. Robbie and the other guy scream, and the ghost slams the door shut. He's like, I was just kidding about the hot dog sale. And one of the teenagers is like, you know, just let us out of here. He's ready to fight the ghost. And the ghost is like, I don't like your tone. And he turns this teenager into a hot dog. It's really terrifying. And so now the store is just going freaking crazy. Things are levitating, being put on the ceiling. Like, dodging falling objects while on the ceiling. It's crazy. And the ghost is like, welcome to your home for all of eternity. Dipper saves Wendy from being hit by a flying soda machine. And they hide under the pit cola machine. And Dipper's like, okay, we gotta figure out what is going on. What did we do wrong to, like, you know, piss these ghosts way off? And what was each person doing when they were taking? Like, Tambry was texting, video game was being played by Thompson, Lee was being sarcastic, and Wendy's like, yeah, those are just all normal teenager things. I don't know what's going on. And Dipper's like, wait, what did you say? He's like, those are just normal teenager things. And Dipper's like, oh, of course, I understand now. And he goes out with, you know, everything flying, being crazy. He's like, hey, ghosts! Which Mabel's head turns 180 degrees before her body does, which is classic and good. I like it. But they float Dipper up, and he's like, I've got something to tell you. He's like, I'm not a teenager. So the ghost is like, oh, like 2 ghosts appear now. They're just holding Mabel by her hair, which is really good. They're like, oh, why did you say so? They drop Mabel. They're like, how old are you? They're like, I'm 12, which is technically not a teen. And the ghost explained that when they were alive, teenagers were like the scourge of their store. Always, you know, hanging around, sassafrassing customers with their boomy boxes and disrespectful short pants. Like, and so they decided to ban them. Like, no more teens at a store. But they were retaliated against with that newfangled rap music. And the rap music is so good. It is the best.
It's like, homework is lame.
Yeah. It's like, they're like, the lyrics, they were so hateful. Homework's whack, and so are rules. Tucking in your shirt is for fools. It's so bad. But they're like doing the Running Man to this song. It is like, it's peak 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's so good. Okay, moving on. And they admit that they died right then of double heart attacks because they were just so shocked by this hateful rap music. And that's why they hate teenagers so much. Like, and Dipper's like, yeah, but they're my friends. Is there anything I could do to help them? And the guy's like, well, one thing. Do you know any little funny dances? It's like, is there anything else I can do? He's like, no! Turns like real demonic-y with fire around him. Like, only a silly dance will save everybody. To which Dipper's like, okay, well, I do know the lammy dance. But, you know, I can't really do it without a lamb costume, so, you're out of luck. To which the ghost snaps their finger, and a lamb costume appears on Dipper. And he's like, oh, well, there it is. Oh. And he's just resigned to the fact that now he's just going to look super uncool. But he does do the lammy dance, which is scarcely a dance, honestly. It's just more of a routine, if you ask me. But it is super embarrassing. What were you saying?
It's like 5 lines of lyrics and a little bit of capering. It's barely a dance. It's more capering.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But
this isn't a dance at all. This is merely capering.
But the ghosts are super impressed. Like, yes, more. And he does, more. And he's waving his arms. And he does like a cute face. And the ghost is like, oh, that was some fine girly dancing, boy. Your friends are free. You're free. And Dipper's like, okay, well, you don't have to worry about us ever coming back as customers. And the ghosts, they just disappear. And then everything that was on the ceiling, including Dipper, falls right to the ground. All the teenagers climb out of various spots. Mabel's like, oh, I'm never going to eat anything or do anything ever again. To which Dipper picks up some Smile Dip to show it to her, and she just slaps it away from him. She's like, it's evil. All the teachers are like, oh man, what happened after everything went crazy? They just don't have no idea. And Wendy's like, oh man, you are not going to believe it. The ghost appeared and Dipper had too. But she looks back at Dipper and he just looks like super distraught and embarrassed by what happened. And Wendy does an actually kind of really cool thing. She says, and she proclaims loudly, that Dipper just grabbed a bat and started beating up the ghost like left and right, and like the ghost got all scared and they ran away because Dipper is like so cool and insane. And the teens are like, that there's no possible way, but whoa, that's awesome, that's so cool, Dr. Fun Times. And Wendy's like, she makes it the locking up the lips gestures. She's like, your secret's safe with me. And Wendy's like, and then we cut to outside the store. Wendy's like, oh, that was a crazy night. I'm going to go stare at a wall and rethink everything. That's really good. And she's like, the next time we hang out, can we just stay at the Mystery Shack? And there was like, the next time? Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, we'll hang out at the Shack. He's super excited that she still wants to hang out. There's going to be a next time because, as we've mentioned, Dipper has a serious crush. Which, like I said, not begrudging him at all. We've all been there. But he closes the car door, climbs in back with Mabel, who is still like just in pain from the Smile Dip. And she looks at her own handwriting where she wrote, "You look nice today." And she feels so bad. She's like, ugh, what kind of a sick joke is this? Really good. And they drive away. And then the lights go out in the store, which is really creepy. And then we cut, and that's the end of the episode. We cut to the end. Stan is still watching The Duchess Approves. It's the wedding. He's like, the wedding. I've waited so long for this. And then the doors fling open on the TV, and he's like, Count Lionel, what are you doing here? And Count Lionel answers, like, I've come for my bride. To which Stan says, you had your chance at the cotillion, you. And some other character says, you had your chance at the cotillion, you. And Stan's like, that's what I said. And he throws the TV out the window. The kids see it, and he's like, couldn't find the batteries.
Couldn't find the remote.
The remote, yeah, whatever. It's real good. It's it's like my favorite Stan scene, to be honest.
It's great.
And that's how the episode ends.
Let's see.
A really fun, great episode. One of my favorites.
Really a lot of fun. This is the first episode where this is the first episode where we get to see a lot more of Wendy, who is a pretty major character for the series. Let's see. Do you want trivia first or voice acting first?
Go ahead and hit me with some trivia.
Let's see. So the dolphin monster in Maple's Hallucination is called Aoshima. It's named after John Aoshima, who's an animation director and directed about half the episodes in season 1.
Oh.
We talked about the convenience store's name being referenced to Robert Rodriguez's film From Dusk Till Dawn. Great film. My cousin is an actor, and he was in Robert Rodriguez's film. He was in Sin City.
Oh, neat.
A minor role, but yeah. He's been in a lot of things. I'm not going to go into it too much here, but yeah, real good guy. Yeah, he's got some really interesting movie roles. I got to see him on stage doing Atticus Finch once. He was fantastic.
That's great.
Let's see. Let's do voice acting. So we haven't talked about Wendy's voice actor. Wendy's voice actor is Linda Cardellini. Linda Cardellini has a huge career. Has been on a billion things. Both live action and voice.
Mm-hmm.
Live action will probably most recognize her as playing the live action Velma in the Scooby-Doo movies.
Oh yeah.
He played Hawkeye's wife in the Avengers films.
Very cool.
A lot of voice acting. A few Emmy. Actually, I was on ER for a while. Big show in the '90s. Actually got a few Emmy awards, things like that. But yeah, and notably, she did a voice on Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which was a contemporaneous show to Gravity Falls, and also had sort of a horror mystery theme to it. And that is a foreshadowing for a year from now. Let's see what else. Other voice actors we had here. The old man is voiced by Ken Jenkins, who is probably best remembered as Bob Kelso on Scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Also has a huge long career, been on a billion things. Bobby, who is another recurring character, his voice actor is TJ Miller, who is not a friend of the show.
Nope.
Because he's kind of a shitty person.
Bet. Yeah.
He's like, I don't know how much of it is actually like of what actually went on, but he has done some shitty things. Now I did mention when Mabel's possessed, it has a different voice actor than like when the ghosts are just talking. When Mabel's possessed, it's the voice is Kevin Michael Richardson, who usually does Sheriff Blubbs in the series, but as a voice actor and an actor, he has literally too many roles to list. Mostly supporting things, but be here all day.
Right, of course.
And most of the teens don't have terribly notable voice actors, except for Nate, which I believe is the one with the hat and like the skull T-shirt. He's voiced by Scott Menville, who most notably did Robin in the first Teen Titans show.
I think he still does Robin.
He does Robin on Teen Titans Go also, and also long career, lots of voice acting. That's all I've got.
All right.
Yeah, I really like this episode. I did really like this episode. It's a lot of fun. Just in general, good episode.
The next episode of Gravity Falls is called Dipper versus Manliness, which is all about confronting toxic masculinity. It is literally what the show's about. The next episode's about. 100%. You cannot change my mind because I'm right.
That's not even that's not even subtext. That's just text.
It's just text. The cryptogram for this week just reads once you descramble it, just reads onwards Aoshima, which is just referring to Mabel's hallucination, which is one of my favorite Mabel.
I was first watching through the series. And we had that. It's like the features of the past. Oh man, that must mean something super important for the rest of the series. And it doesn't.
No, actually, no. When you think about it, it does.
Well, it's not.
You got to think about what happened with Stan.
It's not really.
Ford.
It's not. I don't. Yeah. Like you can definitely interpret it to have some to be kind of a foreshadowing towards some stuff, but it's not. It's not like an explicit reference to things. I don't think.
Maybe not, but I feel like it could be. Like, just thinking about everything that Ford did. We'll get to Ford, because that is a whole thing at the end of this season and at the start of next. But I think it could be. But yeah, that's the episode. All around good episode. Liked it a whole lot. And I think that's the end of this podcast.
Remember, reality.
Oh, unless you've got anything else to talk about.
One thing.
Okay.
Remember, reality is illusion. The universe is a hologram.
No.
Bye.
No,
Nope, too early.
That is way too early. Because you know what? Where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about stuff?
Oh, I am on Twitter way too much. At Dr. C Monster, that is at DRC Monster, where you can hear me botch our exit line.
You can find me, as always, on Twitter at DatFirePrincess, spelled D-A-T. You can find me on my numerous other podcasts, including the one we just recorded yesterday, Let's Pull the Trigger on the Podcast, where we are currently going through all of Kill la Kill, which is another really fun show that I enjoy.
Kill la Kill I'm really having fun doing Kill la Kill. It's one of my favorite anime.
Yep. I don't even know what comes after Kill la Kill, but something. Like, I think it's like Space Lucoa or something like that. I think that's next.
Space Patrol Luluco, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what comes next. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So, remember, until next time.
Reality is an illusion. Universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!
Bye!
Ah, the wedding. I've waited so long for this. Oh, look at her in that dress. Count Lionel? What's he doing here?
I've come to reclaim my bride.
You had your chance at the cotillion, you!
You had your chance at the cotillion, you.
That's what I'm saying! Couldn't find the remote.